Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So we just got the new event, the Feast of Lanterns for the Year of the Horse. However, we also got the preview update for Module 32.5, which brought some new items which I've been meaning to test out. In particular, two new companions, one coming from the future battle pass, the Twitchspine, and another from the future lockbox, Sardina the flying cat. Both I have here, and we can have a look how effective are they actually in combat with their abilities. And well, it turns out one of them is a massive leap ahead in terms of damage output for those boss fights. And if it stays the way it is, it would probably be better than a support companion on a damage dealer. However, that remains to be seen. This is still all open to change, as this is currently just a preview of Module 32.5 we probably won't get for a few weeks. However, before I go and share my test results on these two companions, along with Lysera and the Assassin, ranking them here, we're first going to have a quick look at the Feast of Lanterns and what did they actually do in terms of an update for the Year of the Horse. So if you are new to the event, the first thing you want to do, visit the NPC here, accept the quest, ask what's the occasion, and once you've spoken to her, you then speak to these other two NPCs. One gives you a red envelopes quest, and once speaking to the other guy, he'll give you the nightly fireworks quest. And then from here, you'll just have to deliver those envelopes. So speak to this NPC, this one, and this one, with finally this guy. They all have those gold question marks above their head. You also need to go to the Topper Protector's Enclave and interact with these fireworks. If you want to get all the rewards in this event, you're going to have to do these quests over and over. The very first time you're doing it, yes, you will only be able to do the fledglings and the fireworks. Once we finish here, there are two more quests you can do. Finishing the firework quest, you simply go down here, interact with this, you get the fireworks show, and you go back to your quest givers. Speaking to them will give you your rewards. Be aware of these horse coins. You're only going to be able to get 2 of them per day. We get another here for doing the red envelopes. The quest instructs us to speak to the vendor, and this shows us all the rewards you can purchase with the currencies that you obtain from the event. The issue here is you're limited on how many horse coins you can get, and it's not like you can save them for the next year. There's always a different animal coin. You're going to have to choose. Do you want the Immortal Jade Horse, or do you want the cloak? One thing to be aware of is the cloak you can buy from other players. The horse, you will not be able to do so. That is due to their bind statuses. The horse binds on pickup. The cloak only binds if you equip it. The other new rewards this year is this fashion set, which looks pretty neat, and then this vanity pet, this small little fairy. There is also some food, but this is not food that I'm ever going to make a build around because the devs seem to refuse to change the bind status on it. If this food was not bound on pickup, then you could sell the food and you could stockpile it from other players, or that would create a much bigger incentive to actually farm it and sell any stuff you don't want to use. But since it's bound, the only time you can get the food is during this event once a year. So I'm not going to create a build that relies on this food. So for me, it's utterly useless. Following that golden quest here, again, you're only going to do golden quests once. Once you have done them, that'll be it. So once you're done those gold ones, you are left with just these repeatable quests. Red envelopes, coin thieves, along with the frightened dogs one to get the emote if you haven't already gotten it. So you're left with 4 quests, and these quests you can do over and over and over. And every day you come back to this event, you need to do 2 of them to get the horse coins. Since the event only lasts a week, you will only get just over 14 of these horse coins. Technically you could squeeze out 16 of them, but that would be pointless. And so again, you can only purchase 1 of these rewards. That coin thieves quest, you're simply going to go to the location on the map it sends you, and you're going to look for that little boss within the blue area. And once you kill that boss, that's when the quest will complete and you can head back to get your reward. And then there's the pet, the frightened dogs quest. To do it the most efficiently, you want to join a party, and then you can all contribute to completing the quests together. and that way you can get them done really quickly and you can farm the currency to get all the rewards. So that's it for the event. You complete those quests over and over. You need to at least do them once per day to get all of the horse coins. And you can get everything you want here. If you really want to have your own specific build, you can of course stockpile on this food, but I am not going to make a build around it. So let's move on. I want to showcase the new companions, how effective they actually are. So this Sardina the Tressym is a flying cat. It's actually lore accurate as per D&D, and it does look pretty cute. But its abilities are nothing special here. Extra movement speed as an enhancement, power and movement speed as an offense power. These are displaying as celestial tier already, since I have a version already upgraded. As for its abilities, it's able to meow at your target, dealing some multi-target damage, scratch them with its claws, also dealing some extra bleed damage, and pounce at them for a high single target damage attack. Now I use a setup like this here, just for some accurate testing, maxed out accuracy so we don't get deflects, and maxed out crit chance with crit severity. You always keep these stats the same when testing all of these companions. And we are particularly interested in the single target damage to see how well these perform and whether or not they are worth using versus, say, a party buff companion. Or let's say you want to be topping the damage boards, you will need the highest single target damage companion. But at the end game level, most groups will just use a series of support companions as listed here, boosting everybody's stats and damage output. So these companions gotta be seriously good if they've got to compete versus a support companion. And well, this one lives up to that. It's actually insanely strong. I do not know if it's intended or if this thing will get nerfed before it releases in the next log box. You can see her abilities here, and when she does that pounce, she can hit for like 1.4 million. And she does this quite often. We can see a breakdown of a 10-minute test here, and her DPS was over 200,000. This makes her easily the best out of anything we've tested. We can add that here, 216,371, along with our max hit, 1.4 million. This isn't the highest from other companions we've seen, but when you look at the amount of times she does this, it really adds up. So her total average damage per second ends up making her way above the other ones. So if she stays like this, there's no doubt a lot of people will use her. Her multi-target capabilities kinda lacking. I haven't specifically tested them, but it is her cataclysmic meow that is the multi-target effect. And its max hit was only like 108,000, which looks very low compared to anything else we've seen. But I will need to go on doing multi-target tests. I still need to get around to it, making use of these 5 tightly grouped dummies, but for another time. So the next companion we want to have a look at is Twitchspine. So he should be coming from probably the next battle pass. When we look at his abilities, he again doesn't seem to have anything over the top, just a defense enhancement and a defense power that just isn't really reliable. Looking at his stats and powers then, he has basically just multi-target effects with his Bone Breaker and his Spinal Slam. He then has the special boost, which is Frenzied Resilience. He should get extra defense and awareness. This is only for the companion when he's above 50% max health. And when he's below that, his damage is doubled, along with a boost to his movement speed. The issue here is how often is he going to be below 50% health? Especially if you're running with a group and a healer, which is just going to keep the companion fully healed. I doubt you're ever going to gain that bonus for any length of time. And in the test I did, yes, he's at full health, but if his damage is truly doubled, then let's just look at his damage. Is it any good? And well, it turns out he's only at about 67,000 encounter DPS. If you go and double that, he'll only be at like 134,000 DPS. So he's still behind even the Shadow Elemental here. And he's not even a support companion, so I don't even see why you would use this. Again, most of the time he's going to be at full health, so his DPS is going to be closer to that 67,000 with these stats, which puts him at a very low rank on this list and just not really worth using, particularly because he's not a support companion. He provides nothing to the team, unlike these other ones here. So I don't really see why somebody would use him. He is multi-target, however, so maybe he has a place with just his multi-target damage output here, killing tightly grouped enemies. And that wasn't a bad hit. And that's probably where he's designed to shine. His fist hit is gonna hit everybody that's closely grouped, and so is his other attack. The range on that is a 30-degree melee arc and a radius 20 feet, about once every 7 seconds. That's his big hit, which we were seeing numbers upwards of 386,000 with combat advantage. But yeah, he's not any good in boss fights. Just to confirm, Lysera and the Blaspheme Assassin, their DPS tests haven't really changed here. 164,000 with Lysera, 168,000 with the Blaspheme Assassin. Ever so slightly higher than the results I have here by like 4,000. But yeah, nothing that's going to compete versus the crazy DPS of the Flying Cat. Again, it can very well get changed before it actually releases in the next future lockbox. But do note, I'm not really sure they should nerf her, and it's more likely they should bring the other companions up a bit, the ones which are not support companions, just because we are in a meta right now of simply support companions to give us those extra stats. And with celestial mounts and celestial insignias, that power creep also adds a lot more damage to our characters and not necessarily the companions, which means it makes a bit more sense for companions to get a bit of a boost in terms of their damage output. But ultimately it's up to the devs' decisions. I don't know if this companion is intended to deal that much damage, or they had some flaws when they initially created and tested it. And maybe this video can shed some light on that. But we'll have to see. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys around.